Not being able to find reliable news information, being constantly bombarded with ads and targeted messages, and simply not being able to strain relevant information out of the feeds of social media sites are problems that users on sites like Facebook and Twitter face on a regular basis. That's because these sites have devolved into havens for the spread of misinformation, a place for cyberbullying, and again, and they're constantly being updated, so it's hard to find what you're looking for before it's already gone. Which brings up the question of, are these sites worth the annoyance and risk? Today I hope to convince you that they are not worth the risk, and I hope to convince you to limit your exposure to the weapon that social media has evolved into. And that might seem like an exaggeration, the word weapon, but hopefully you'll see that it fits, since real harm can be done. In exploring only the tip of the iceberg of how weaponized social media has become, I found a variety of sources, including university studies, published statistics, news articles, and an indictment by the Department of Justice. And while all these sources are from a variety of different backgrounds, the general consensus is that social media is a bit like alcohol. In moderation, it can be fun, but at the end of the day, it's still an unnecessary risk. And because of how broad this subject is, and the fact that social media is always changing, it's being updated, this is just a glimpse of every issue. A general idea is that social media, for every good or constructive thing that you can use it for, it has, or can, or probably has been used in the exact opposite way. So keeping that in mind, the first and most pressing issue that I found and want to cover is that social media is now being used for political interference, which has been verified by an indictment by the United States Department of Justice against several Russian tech companies that were attempting to sway popular opinion during the 2016 presidential election, which means that countries are now attempting to wage war via the internet. This is also part of the ongoing Mueller investigation, and for their part, companies like Facebook and Twitter have been fairly complicit in allowing this to just happen. The next thing I would like to cover is that social media sites are places where racist, radicals, and other hate groups can promote their attacks on vulnerable population. Ryan Riley of the Huffington Post wrote an article in which he found that while many of these posts are taken down, typically it's after they've been viewed millions of times, so the damage towards these groups has already been done. There's also a study by the University of Pittsburgh which finds that millennials are at a substantially increased risk of depression because they're constantly subjecting their social existence to the scrutiny of the internet. And they're constantly comparing themselves with their friends and their online projections. It's no longer grounded in reality. It's about who's better. Oh, I've got a Lambo. I've got a Bugatti. Who cares? And so they're waging this virtual. So they've got a virtual arms race for who can outdo who, and they're depressed about it. Or the most troubling issue that I found is, again, that social media is used for cyberbullying. That's like the definition. It's got to be online. And a survey by statisticbrain.com of high school age students found that 54% of those surveyed said that they had first-hand experience of some form of cyberbullying. And of those who identified themselves as being bullied, 84% said that Facebook was the primary culprit, or the primary place where they were harassed. And that's something that Mark Zuckerberg, when he made his great social network, he probably didn't intend, but it's a consequence nonetheless. This is a problem for me, because when I was bullied, when I was younger, I was bullied. But that was before social media came out, so when I went home I was unplugged. I wasn't constantly harassed, and children today are constantly, when the bully is after them, they're constantly posting, so they're constantly harassed, even when they go home in a place where they're supposed to be safe. Another minuscule problem that I found is that people spend a lot of time on these sites. According to the Global Web Index, in 2015, the average internet user logged 1.72 hours per day on social media sites. Imagine if everyone spent that time sleeping instead of tweeting about, I don't know, a cat video or cupcake recipes. Imagine how much nicer they would be if they spent that time constructively. The last problem I want to highlight is that of security and data mining. According to Glenn Greenwald of The Guardian, the NSA casts broad spectrum nets over internet traffic, so they can log, in some instances, individual keystrokes. And this information can be kept forever, so it can come back to haunt you. Insurance companies also go through and screen individuals' profiles. InsuranceQuotes.org says that it's now routine for these companies to go through and look at customers' profiles, and for any dangerous behavior that they observe, they can adjust your insurance rates. So the next time you go skydiving, put your GoPro on and woo! They'll probably be looking, so you'll probably find your insurance rates going up. This all comes to the fact that there's also the fact that your public feed is visible to everyone. So if you post, oh, I'm going on this awesome vacation, that's an open window for someone that's in the area. They can find you, and people always geotag their photos. So if someone finds where you live, and they know you're away, and they break in, you're out. That's just to reinforce the idea that real danger is out there, and it's just ready to pounce. This all comes to your data, the fact that your data is now a commodity. It's something that is bought and sold. Your online behavior, your routines are studied and used to make adaptive strategies specifically to target you. Facebook was selling information to Cambridge Analytica, and they were using it to develop all sorts of political tactics and stuff, which really violates your privacy. So this is all disheartening, I know, but the solution for this problem, or all these problems, is really simple. So ultimately, the solution will come in the form of legislation. So the government's going to have to partner with these tech companies. They're going to have to establish what data can be kept, if it can be sold, if it's traded. And they're going to have to standardize end-user agreements. So the next time you go to log on to a site, you don't have some 37-page document that's full of jargon that not even a lawyer can understand. But you got like 4 pages of stuff that tells you exactly what they're capturing, exactly how it's used. Now, because of lobbying, that's likely never going to happen. Let's be honest. But you can address this issue yourself by simply not going to those sites or limiting what you do on them. Just don't expose yourself to the influence of this stuff. So I apologize if I've ruined anyone's pastime at looking at goofy cat pictures or finding out how much Taco Bell your friend just ate. But hopefully you take away one thing, and that's not to dismiss the fact that this is an actual threat. This is the first time in history where we're probably going to have a nude photo of a president in our lifetime. That should frighten everyone. No one wants to see that. And again, because this stuff is logged in the cloud, it can be kept forever. So one mistake, one little tweet, one little post can come back and bite you 10 years later. So my plea to you is this: don't turn your back on the monster that social media sites can be. I mean, they will hesitate your life without even blinking. My troll guy was gone, but the last point I was going to make is that that's no longer, it used to be that trolls were simply little commenters that would leave a nasty thing on your YouTube video. It's now an idea. It's the troll. It's out there. It's looking for some way to get some leg up on you, so that someday when you're in a position to do something, you're not able to, because it's ruined. And I guess Smokey the Bear said it best. Only you can prevent forest fires, Likewise, only you can prevent trolls from existing. Thank you.